Elbows, elbows. Whee! Whee! So what happened there was a little bit of a whiskey landing. I pulled the clutch in. Today I am at Perris Raceway. It'll be my first time on an MX track since I sold the KLX 300 when I was still like a complete beginner. Now, I'm still a beginner from a motocross perspective. There will be no good motocrossing in the following video, unless, except for the people who are flying by me. But it's going to be interesting for me to just see what it feels like now that I'm just a lot more experienced with sort of riding in general.
Alright, I'm going to give you this first lap, beginning to end, just so that you can get a sense of what the track is like, and then I'll start editing to only include my commentary or highlights and things like that.
Hopefully I'll get to try some ruts. Practice that a little bit. A little bit too aggressive on those whoops without proper technique. So I'm not really jumping anything. I'm getting just tiny amounts of air. Definitely not going to be doing any proper jumps.
Well, as you may have noticed from the title of the video and the preview, I did end up doing a little bit of jumping and actually cleared one of the jumps.
It feels, I don't know, simultaneously it feels like, okay, I got this, because I'm so much more experienced with riding. But at the same time, I feel like a complete noob. Especially with the jumps. I'm basically not doing the jumps. And I'm stalling it. Still, there's enough there that I can practice a little bit, getting the throttle right and sort of landing reasonably, even if I'm just doing tiny amounts of air. These whoops are a little bit more aggressive than they were last time I was here, which was like a year ago. The track is otherwise very similar to what it always was. I shouldn't say always, but what it was back then. So I'm trying to feel the difference, like letting go of the throttle at the very end versus not doing it, and how the front sort of tips in if I do that. I'm not touching any brakes at all. I do not have the skills to be mucking around with that. I'm just playing a little bit with sort of how to leave the, I guess, jump phase or whatever the term is. That was more of a jump than I had intended. Little bit of whiskey throttle there coming off it. I always suck about with the ruts. I guess I'm glad that hasn't changed.
Just to explain a little bit why that jump is different than the other jumps on this track. At the very top of the jump phase, it's made very deliberately to be a little bit more vertical, right? So you have the incline of the jump phase, instead of just being kind of like it just rolls off like most of them, that has a little bit of a ramp at the very end. So even not coming at it with a lot of speed, you get a lot of air and you get fairly high up.
That jump is deceiving. It's like almost no speed required to get air. That's why I keep getting too much air on it. Not this time, because I was planning it, but Okay, let me go down the rut. Sort of a rut. Ah, crap, I suck. Yeah, so overall, I definitely feel like I'm sort of down a peg or two, so to speak, right? I mean, learning to ride in general, off-road, getting more comfortable. But I feel like my feeling of being a newbie is definitely sort of stronger now on the MX, because I just haven't done this kind of riding at all, right? I mean, I'm still feeling like obviously I'm much more comfortable than I was before, but like definitely not any kind of intermediate on a on a motocross track.
So this upcoming jump here, right here, I kept doing it a little faster each time and eventually working up to fully jumping it.
Okay, let's elbows. Okay, sit and get through this. It's not even a proper rut yet, but I'm still having issues. Yeah, even with the tiny amounts of air that I'm getting, I can definitely feel the difference in terms of throttling, keeping the throttle on versus not, and how the bike lands. So ironically, I feel like I'm going slow, because I mean I'm going slow, but like I'm comfortable with speed nowadays compared to a year ago, but there's jumps all over the place, and I'm not comfortable with any speed when there's a jump coming, right? So I don't really feel that much faster than I used to be. Poor body position. Okay, let's try this rut situation. Elbow up, okay. That went decently. Alright, I switched to a helmet camera because the chest camera is kind of annoying when you're going over jumps and stuff. Things got like stuck and bumping into the bike and some things like that, so I just wanted to, I don't know if I'm going to publish this. I guess if you're hearing this, I decided to do so, but I was riding around and I worked up to the point where I'm actually able to clear one of the jumps. Not a big jump or anything like that. Probably I think it's the simplest jump on the track, but still, my very first time clearing a jump on a motocross track. So I wanted to capture that for my own sake, if nothing else. I'm still pretty much the slowest person on the track, but that's okay. I don't actually care about that. Okay, here we go. That was awesome for the first time. I basically just worked up to it slowly, right? I felt comfortable with the position of the bike, like it was stable, safe, and I just worked up to going, slightly faster and faster until I cleared it. And now I can do it kind of easily. This one is still it's a very steep one, so even going at it for slow speed means like a pretty steep jump with a big bounce. Unless you got the right speed and you land downwards, I'm assuming, which I have not. I'm definitely not trying that. Too much of a jump for me. I screwed the rut up, but this rut has actually been a pretty good practice rut. I used to have trouble with the rut that forms there back on the KLX. Still have trouble, but it's been a good practice run. Even though that particular run wasn't too good. Whee! Whee! Clearing a jump doesn't mean I'm good at this freaking corner though. That's a whole other thing. Whew. Saved it. So what happened there was a little bit of a whiskey landing. I pulled the clutch in, and then I was like too quick to recover, like too eager to recover, and I wasn't fully in control. Okay, let's try the rut again. Whew. a little bit better. Okay, let's see if I can clear this one. Not this one, but the next. I almost cleared it before. Pretty much. That doesn't count as a jump though. Rut. Let's do it. There we go. Pretty decent for my standards. Kind of clearing those almost. Or whatever the term is, given that it's more of a whoop situation. I don't even know the terminology for that. Yay! It was a pretty straightforward clear, I think. Nice. I tried to sort of clear that, semi-clear it, that second one, which I had never attempted before. Whoa. Some people do cut it close, in my opinion. Or rut practice. Certainly not perfect. My vision wasn't perfect. Various issues, but I'm definitely getting better at ruts. No question. At least these ruts. The dirt ruts. Oh, that wasn't great. The dirt ruts that... oh, I accidentally went into first gear. That's why. The dirt ruts that are still kind of soft. So you don't crash immediately if you do something wrong. I don't even know if I finished talking. So what happened there was that my body position was so fucked up. I sort of fell forward, coming off the hill, so to speak, and then I was sort of semi-emergency braking while body position was completely foobar. I ended up sliding it with the rear, and then I was kind of sliding almost as if I was skid turning, and I was like, I might be able to save this, which I almost did. Like, it didn't turn into like a proper tip over, or rather, it was a tip over, but not like a crash. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just let it go instead of continuing to sort of surf on the skid. I'm definitely gonna need to have somebody coach me and look at what I'm doing. I'm sure that I'm doing things wrong with my body positioning when it comes to jumps. Not that I was actually even trying to jump in that case, but at least not more than like a tiny. I wasn't actually trying to jump over. Like I said, some people, I feel like they take it a little too close.
Once again, sorry about the camera angle here. It was either that or nothing, basically. So I went with it. We'll try to avoid that in the future. So, first time on the MX back since, a year or so. That was fun. Definitely felt like I was much more in control and I could progress a lot more compared to in the past on the MX track. Even though, as I said, I still felt like a noob, given that I haven't really been doing this stuff, so just barely getting jumps to work. But yeah, that was fun. Thanks for watching.